Hey, guys.
Check complete. Let's head over to the bar.
Yes. And we're back again with another episode of the VARBAR. I think it's episode 221, 221, but I'm not sure. Who keeps count anyways? My name is Andrew, aka Rapping Drew, and I am joined by my compadre, Toast, the Gooner, Strizza.
Come on.
What's the name for Spurs fans? Spuds.
Whoa.
What?
Not Spuds. Allow it. What do you mean Spuds?
I don't know.
Obviously, like more time, they call ourselves like the Yids, but it's a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, techie.
You get me?
Yids.
Can't really.
It's a bit techie, but yeah, Yids in it, man.
Yids. Okay, yeah. But this is another reason why I think like you man are not a big club because you ain't even got like a name.
What?
This
We're
is like
10 seconds into the pod.
Yeah, you're violating, bro. Boy.
Hey, we have to get it in the intro, man. But yeah, man. Thank you guys for coming, man. Yeah, we didn't have an episode last week, of course, but thank you guys for sticking with us. Obviously, like, share, subscribe as usual, as always. And let's get the ball rolling, man. Obviously, game week 20. What's the game week? 25?
I think 25.
Yeah, 25.
Game week 25, man. We're across the halfway stage. We're nearly seeing the finish line. Obviously, some teams are still fighting for their lives. And there's no better way to start than the game or the game week, man. Obviously, Man United versus Spurs. I don't know if you want to go this like a relegation 6-pointer or like two teams that are fighting for nothing. I don't even know what this game was dubbed about. I mean, Toast, you were saying in the group chat as well that this game is just.
This is the thing, isn't it? Because we've had like mid-offs before, innit? But if you're not even mid-table, like between 9th and 12th, can you even really say it's a mid-off, bro? Like they were calling it the disappointing derby. There was just so many names that were just running around. Like this is the 14th v 16th place derby. Like this, come on, man. Even at Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool's worse. We ain't been 14, 15, 16. Hey, man.
I was surprised about that, you know. I was surprised that Liverpool has never finished below 8th in the Prem. The way people talk is like we've been in the Gaza, but we've never finished below 8th. I've actually been surprised about that. I didn't know that.
I mean, you had your like them years, you had them bad years, but it weren't as bad as this, man. Like this far into the season, for United and Tottenham to be this low in the league is crazy, bro. There's only 13 games left, man. So,
but I will say, obviously, prior to this game, obviously, Strizza, sorry, you'll get your chance to talk. But prior to this game, obviously, with this mid-off, on paper, I only had one winner, and obviously that came into fruition. To be honest, and I think, like for Spurs' point of view, obviously, Strizza, you can elaborate on that more. There's small light at the end of the tunnel in terms of like, you know, the injured players are coming back. Their bench looked strong again in this game. We can't talk too much about, you know, the actual play on the pitch. But, I mean, it seems like Spurs, you know, if they get Van and Romero back and, you know, they can actually rotate a little bit more. They're out of all the competitions apart from the Europa League as well. They look strong for that as well. And maybe they can still finish like mid-table in the Premier League as well. So, I mean, in comparison to United, it's a whole different story. But yes, Strizza, chat to me, man.
You man finished,
1-0 win.
Yeah,
we're finished, man.
Respond.
Yeah.
I just want to say quickly that on what you said to us, I'm pretty sure that there was a season where Arsenal were 15th, 16th when Arteta first came in. So let's not do this.
Nah.
Because,
not that, brother.
Yeah,
I can check the archives. We were no. Hold time. I remember
we had a bet. We had a bet where I was like, "You're gonna finish the second." Remember, Toast.
But
it didn't happen.
But where did we end up? Number one, and number two. It wasn't like the whole season where we were just middling in like the bottom half chilling in it. Like the progress was made in it, man. Like maybe not Spurs, but I can genuinely see United finishing like in like the bottom half, like comfortably. So, hey, man, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, just wanted to remind us of that because obviously, like, I don't want to be giving out misinformation to the viewers and the listeners.
I know, man.
Saying this.
But yeah, like you say, obviously, look, it's a bit of a nothing game. I think both sides are struggling, and they're both really going for the Europa League. Because Europa League got bust. I think both teams are favourites to win the competition. I don't know who's worked that one out, but obviously, I feel like it was so important to get 3 points on the board. I was confident before the game as well, to be fair. Like, I felt like we're bad, but United are worse. I think you asked me this question a few weeks ago about, who do you think is better at Spurs and United? And I said, like, for as bad as we are, they're worse because we've got all of our injuries that we have. Players obviously coming back now. And you can see, obviously, a player that's just come back from injury scores a winning goal in James Maddison and silences a couple of men that have been talking disrespectfully on his name. But with that being said, I think it was a fairly even game. Like, obviously, they missed a few chances in the first half. Garnacho missed a couple. And I don't think we were great either. But what we managed to do was keep going. We kept going. We were fairly solid at the back. And like you say, we've got players coming back into the team that are making a big difference. And just good to get the 3 points, man. Like, do you know what? I went into the game fairly relaxed because although we've gone up to 12 now, I don't see us getting into European places through the league. So it's like, yeah, you want to win games in the league, obviously, for confidence and for momentum. But for us, the important thing is Europa League. So if we finish 12th, 15th, 9th, like, what's the difference? For me now, it's Europa League or bust. And obviously, that's the most important thing. So I think it's important for Ange now to manage the squad correctly. I think with players coming back, it's all well and good them coming back. But if they come back too fast and get injured, then what's the use? So the fact he took Maddison off early was a good sign. The fact that he gave Odebe some minutes off the bench, not too much, not too little. I feel like for us now, we just got to keep pushing on in the league, get what points we can, but focus on the Europa League. But the performance itself, I thought we was all right. Like, it was a bit of a nothing game. Like, two average sides, like, not really. You could tell they're not playing with a lot of confidence. Do you know what I mean? But I definitely think we were good value for the win, despite that. Back-to-back wins in the league, back-to-back clean sheets, players coming back from injury, innit? So I think it's a positive step.
Obviously, in previous episodes and just everywhere, Twitter, wherever, you've been very vocal about James Maddison, in regardless of his like form, still being one of your important players. And obviously, a lot was said prior to this game about James Maddison, and he definitely answered his critics. But not just with the goal. I thought like he was probably your best player in that game as well. So how do you see in terms of James Maddison, him getting a goal, him putting in a good performance, him actually being a starter and actually inspiring this team to win and going forward? What are we expecting from him? What do you expect from him?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Obviously, that a lot was said before the game about Maddison, and it has been said even from last season when he come back from injury and he wasn't at the same level. Obviously, didn't get picked for the England squad, and his confidence was knocked a bit. But I've said it like so many times, like, he's one of our most important players, if not our best player. Like, people will talk about Kulusevski and his influence, and I agree. But the difference is with Maddison, he's the only one in our team that I feel can control the tempo of a game, can drop into pockets of space, is very intelligent, on the ball, can pick a pass, and has an eye for goal as well. He's one of our top goal scorers this season. Like, despite the fact he's been injured for X amount of games and he's been in and out of the side, he's got 9 goals in the league this season. And 4 assists, that's like, 14 goal involvements, or 13 goal involvements. And for me, like, it's not just in terms of like numbers and things like that. He's like one of the senior players in the squad. He's one of the vice captains. So when you're missing, obviously, Romero, when you were missing Vicario, who are 2 other vice captains, Son's been off the boil, you're looking for players like Maddison to step up. And there's been times where he's not been at his best, but the whole team hasn't been at their best, right? But I firmly believe that, like, if we're picking a squad or an 11, our best 11, he's in it. And when he plays well, we tend to play well. So, like, I'm really happy with Maddison. The only issue with him is consistency. He just doesn't seem to have that consistency in his game to have like a run of 3-4 games. He'll have a good game, yeah, and then he'll go off the boil for 2, and then I'll have a good game, and then he might get an injury, and then Ange might drop him to the bench. And I just feel like it's been an inconsistent season for him, although he has been consistent at the same point in the same breath. So, yeah, I think he's really important for us, man. And I feel like I just want him to solidify his place in the team. That's the most important thing because, like, I don't know what your opinions are of him, like, obviously as neutrals, but he should definitely be in our team. He should definitely be in our best 11. And the fact that he's not, I don't know whether that's like a him thing, a tactical thing, or you know what I mean. There was obviously talks about him and Ange maybe having a falling out, but I don't think that's the case. I just think us as a team have been so inconsistent, and he's obviously been part of that. But I'm hoping now he can kick on and he'll be a big part. If we're going to do anything in the Europa League, he'll be a big part of that, man.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Maddison?
Just, I don't know, man. I think just right now, Tottenham, because they're not really competitive, like they don't interest me. Like I know a lot of people say that the games are quite high scoring. They either score like a lot, but if in all fairness, like when Tottenham are actually half decent, like competing for top 4, competing for top 6, like I think they're a very, very watchable team. Like this Tottenham at present, they're not very watchable, innit, man? And with Maddison, since he joined the club, I think he had that nice little purple patch when he first joined. First couple of months, he was unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? And I thought, you know what? Okay, this is like potential to be like the head and shoulders, like best player in the club sort of thing. I know Kane was kind of on the way out. Son was still there, but there was, I saw a lot. Do you know what I mean? But now he's in and out of the team. He's not always fit. Like he scored a tap in yesterday, fine. But I mean, is anyone really like checking for Maddison right now in World Football 1, or let's say as like a needle mover in the England squad sort of thing? I still don't really feel as if he's anywhere near his peak. I mean, he's a decent player, man, but I mean, like, bro, I really don't know what to say about Madders, man, really, because I'm just not seeing anything from Tottenham as a whole. So it's very hard to judge.
Have that. He can't even be objective.
Do you know what it is? Do you know
can't even be objective on this broadcast.
I don't know what's happened to Toast. If I'm being completely real with you, like Toast once upon a time, yeah, he was a guy that you could have a football conversation with, man, and he'd make sense. He's the so-called ball knower, but all he really don't know ball, and I don't get it. And furthermore, yeah, I saw your brother as a Spurs fan, so like,
yeah, he is.
You got a Spurs fan close to you. Like, I'm sure you have conversations. Like, my brother's an Arsenal fan. We'll talk about football and that. So how you can think he's like just a bit of a nothing player is beyond me, because what I'm seeing this season
in this moment, innit?
What I'm seeing this season is he'd getting ahead of Odegaard right now. So for a nothing player, yeah, ooh, for someone to still find goals in the Prem, yeah,
no, thank you, man.
For me, yeah, like I get
no deal.
Not everything's based on stats. Not everything's based on stats, yeah. But for him to, like you say, be in and out of the team, not be fit regularly, but still have 9 goals and 4 assists in the Premier League this season, he's having an influence on games. And I'm not seeing that from Odegaard. But anyway, I don't want to make it an agenda thing. My thing is just, look, I can understand because of Tottenham's league position and how we've been performing, you're not really checking for none of their players, right? And that makes sense. But I think if you're being completely objective, like Maddison on his day is good enough to play for England, no doubt. And he's one of our best players. So for me, it's like, if we can get him consistently playing at that level, and I don't think he was at his best yesterday, but he's definitely like one of our better players. If we can get him playing consistently, then we've got a chance to make things happen. You've got to remember as well, and a big thing, we've missed our whole spine for so long. And I don't want to come on and make excuses. I've been honest, and I've said that we've not been good enough in so many games. You can't blame injuries, but we've missed the whole spine. We're now missing our centre forward. We've had to sign a 19-year-old from Bayern Munich to fill in. Richarlison comes back, gets injured. There's been so many injuries around him that it's hard to be consistent when you're not playing with the same team consistently as well. And I feel that that's had an impact. So, like I said, won't make excuses. I completely understand that he's not been at his best level, but he definitely is a player that for me can make the difference, and he did yesterday. You know what,
Strizza? You made some good points, and I kind of half hear you, but I'm just looking at like Premier League, the goal scoring charts, innit? Excuse me. Mateus Cunha, 12 goals. Kluivert, 11 goals. Mateta, 11 goals. Delap, 10 goals. So, and I'm not talking about the amount of goals that they've scored. I'm talking about impactful. Do you know what I mean? Like Kluivert's having probably the best season of his career with those goals, bro. Those 11 goals are impactful. Cunha, head and shoulders the Wolves' best player. Those 11, 12 goals, impactful. Mateta is having another purple patch. Like those 11 goals, impactful. Brother, honestly, the fact that Maddison has 9 goals this season is a shock to me, bro. This is actually news to me. Maybe I've just not been watching Spurs like enough or closely enough, but those numbers don't feel impactful, and I think that's just my main point in it. Like I don't think Maddison's a bad player. I think he's a very quality player. I'm just talking. It probably hurts his argument. It probably hurts his case that Spurs have been so bad this season, and that was really what I was talking about, innit, man. But I feel as if it's like, all right, he scored 9 goals, but and what? Like I've not really seen impact. And if I was seeing impact from those goals, those 9 goals, 4 assists, then maybe you guys would be higher up the league, innit? That was kind of really my thought process, innit? Really, that's just kind of how I see it, man.
Yeah. Oh no, that's funny. Nah. I think I'm somewhere in the middle in regards to the Maddison, because I can definitely acknowledge that he hasn't had a good season so far. I remember when like there were conversations. What Strizza said that he's had a falling out with Ange. Ange put him on the bench a few times, and for me personally at that time, I felt like it was justified because I didn't feel like off the ball specifically, Maddison was good enough or pulling his weight for Spurs. And I think that may have been the reason why Ange didn't trust him, because he wasn't pulling his weight in that regard. On the ball, you can't deny Maddison, like 100% his quality, one of the best 10s in the league on his days, most definitely. But obviously inconsistencies within the game, not even like per game, but even within the game. The Donny can have a good 10 minutes, but then for the rest of the 80 minutes, he'll be ghost. Or for the rest of the 60 minutes, whenever he gets dragged, he'll be ghost. And I think that was probably one of the reasons why Ange probably didn't trust him. And maybe they had a falling out because of that. Because that's just my perspective of how I see Maddison so far this season. But, you know, the stats speak for themselves that he still had some sort of impact or still been one of Spurs' most important players whenever he is on it. So now for him and for Spurs, it's obviously a case of, you know, how do we use Maddison to the best of his possibility, to the best of his ability. But obviously a point that should be considered, that Strizza also made, is that Spurs lost their spine. They didn't have a spine, so maybe Maddison had to do 2 jobs in one instead of just focus on what he's good at. So, you know, there's a lot of intangibles that you can look at. Even if you look at Spurs' numbers as well, they're one of the highest scorers in the league. So it's weird that they don't have anyone that has 10 plus goals in their team. Their goal difference is very healthy. You're sitting on 12, so some can argue Spurs are in a forced position. But we're gonna move on to the team that they played against. Some can argue, at least Spurs fans, they can argue that, you know, we scored the goals, we ship. But in terms of like some of the underlying numbers, not all of them, but some of the underlying numbers, you can be like, you know, they're in the middle of people that are -3, 1, 0, -3 goal difference. They're on 12. You know what I mean? And I know it's not by scoring goals, but like I said, I see a light at the end of the tunnel. And if Spurs continue, they get their players back and gets them to play sustainable football, because I think that's what's lacking at the moment over at Spurs. Sky is kind of the limit for them in Europa and in the league to finish as high as possible.
I can't agree with that, man, because this is actually low. And don't get me wrong, I'm like fully aware of obviously the injuries Spurs have had and like the adversity you faced in it. Like I'm not gonna take any of that away, but this is probably one of the more open seasons we've seen in a while. Like, do you know what I mean? We've got Nottingham Forest in 3rd place. We've got Bournemouth in 5th place. We've got teams that Spurs should be head and shoulders above, actually going for it. Do you know what I mean? Going for European places. So to say Spurs are in a false position, Nottingham Forest are 3rd in the league.
No, I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm saying that can be argued based on like this goal scored, goal difference, etc., and the teams around them. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not saying that.
Like, you got to factor in like the things we've had to deal with. Like, we know obviously the obvious stuff, like Forrest play 1 game a week, so the Bournemouth, right? Not being in Europe's a big thing, but forget that for a second, because I feel like we've got the squad to maybe handle that, the different competitions. We've literally had a whole senior 11 out since November. Like, we've had players out dropping like flies. Pedro Porro played the most minutes of any player in the whole of Europe in the top 5 leagues. Like, we've got man that are dead on their feet. Yeah, so it's like there has to be some form of like, okay, cool. I don't necessarily think we're in a full position in terms of like we probably are where we deserve to be, because we've lost nearly amount of the same games as Ipswich, right? We obviously do have firepower to score goals and to create chances and things like that. And we've had a few big wins, like the 5-0 against Southampton, the 4-0 against City, which has helped. But with that being said, like, we've got the most injuries of any team in the league, and we have done for the last 3 months, whilst playing 3 games in a week. And these same players are playing every single game, and they're playing through injuries. They're playing through knocks. I don't remember the last time Kulusevski had a rest. He's dead on his feet. He's got nothing left. So I do get it, and we should definitely be performing better, and we should be higher in the league. But I think you're seeing it now.
I have a question,
with like other teams getting injuries. Bro, it's hard. Like, and we've just obviously been unlucky.
I have a question, Striz, isn't it? I know we will probably want to move on in it, man. But hypothetical, obviously. Let's say Tottenham get all your players back, and we go to next season now. Maybe you do a little bit of investment in the summer. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Can you, with your heart of hearts, say you can guarantee not even top 4 next season, top 6? Can you say with all your shooters back that you can guarantee Tottenham right now will finish in the top 6? Because for me, I'm looking at City, I'm looking at Liverpool, I'm looking at Arsenal, I'm looking at Villa, I'm looking who are every single transfer window are improving. I'm looking at Newcastle, I'm looking at Chelsea. That's already 6 teams. That's already 6 teams that I personally think are just on paper already better than Tottenham. And then you have obviously those middling projects. You have the upcoming Bournemouth now, the upcoming Nottingham. Andy, speak on it. I mean, if I'm lying, speak on it.
I'm not going to say that the teams that you mentioned in terms of Aston Villa and Newcastle, Newcastle specifically, they will lose some players. Aston Villa, but I can't say that if everyone fit, they have a better squad than Tottenham. Tottenham it's an equal footing with them to get that 6th spot. I don't think they're over Tottenham for that 6th spot. Everyone fit. I think that's cap. That's being disingenuous. 100%.
I can't say I can guarantee we get top 6, right? But I think we've got a very good chance. And if we do, which is looking likely, finish outside European places this season, and we're playing 1 game a week with the squad that we've got, with some additions as well in the summer, which I'm hoping for, which we desperately need, then yeah, I think we would get top 6. But I can't say I wouldn't put my life on it, because yeah, there are, like, obviously you'd say 6 teams. There's 6 teams better than us right now, probably, right? But I just think that Spurs have got something there. It just needs to be nurtured. Like, it just needs to be. Do you think
fully fit? Do you think fully fit Villa and Newcastle are better than you? Because I don't think so. I'm not saying that Spurs are better than them. I don't think you can call it between those 3 teams.
Yeah. You know what it is?
I might find out about Emery on Wednesday, my boy.
I don't think
you're gonna put your money where your mouth is.
I don't think they're better than us, because like it's interesting you say this, because I had the same conversation with my cousin last week before the FA Cup game, and I said that when we played them in the league this season, fully fit, we beat them 4-1. So, and I know any team can win a match on a day, but we also beat them last year at Villa Park 4-0.
Fair.
And we beat them at home as well. So it's like when we played these teams, we beat them. So it's like, and we finished above, obviously, Newcastle last season. Although to be fair, they tend to beat us in the league. But the point is, like, when fully fit, when we have our best 11 now, then I fancy us against both of those teams. But it's whether Spurs are going to be consistent in every game, and that's the problem. Like what you said, Drew, is Ange going to make the football sustainable? It's okay having attacking football and forward-thinking football and players that want to get into attacking position and score goals, but when both your fullbacks are in 10 positions and you get hit on the counter-attack and you're 3v2 at the back, then that's not going to work. So that's my thing. And whether Ange can take the season as a learning curve, adapt things in the summer, and then go again, I don't know. Like, as I said, I know we want to move on, but I know in myself, like, I want Ange to stay, but I've said I'm Ange out, but I don't want Ange to go. I'm like, I want Ange to stay and I want him to make it work, but I don't know whether he's going to be stubborn and stick to his principles, because if he does do that, then we're going to be behind. Is it a case of get rid of him and then go for someone in the summer, and then they get the pre-season and then we can push on? Because I don't want Ange to stay, to sign players in the summer and then sack him within the first 2 months of the season. So can I ask you guys a question? Because obviously you segued it for me nicely to my next point that I wanted to make in regards to can these 2 managers, because I'm talking to Amorim as well, where, like, obviously we see what he's trying to do. He's sticking to his principle by hook and crook. In Amorim's case, is failing miserably.
Now, a lot of people, some United fans are using the players. He's not got the right players. He needs a few windows. Neutrals are arguing that. I said in a few pots that I believe that, you know, if given time, because I feel like Amorim does need time, he can change United's destiny. But at the same time, I can criticize what I'm seeing right now. And what I'm seeing right now is not good. I said it a few pots ago. Hey, you were at me, Toast. You and Shalom were saying that I can't at him because he hasn't got the players. I'm like, bro, you can't. Bro, what? Wait, hold on. Let me read this stat because that was crazy. I didn't even know this. Donny has only got 4 wins out of 14 Premier League games that he's been in charge in, and those 4 wins as well.
13 points as well. 13 points in those 14 games. Like, that's unacceptable. I agree.
That's unacceptable, bro. And it's like, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think, like you can stick to your principle in terms of like your formation, but can you try to make it more compact? Can you try to be a little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more, not negative per se, but try to be more compact, because you see, he stuck to his principle in terms of formation against Liverpool and Arsenal, and he got some sort of result out of that. But obviously, once you play for the big clubs, Spurs, United, you need to show your football against the smaller teams, and then it goes wrong. But sometimes, do you have to suffer? Do you have to, suffer and be a little bit more compact? Stick with your 3 or 5 at the back, or whatever you want to do. Your left back, right back, playing 10s. But can you be a little bit more compact? Can you be a little bit more? You know what I mean? Like, think about not conceding counterattacks rather than trying to go for the win when you don't even have the players to do that. That's my question to you guys. Is that possible?
You know what? It's possible. And if I'm honest, it's odd because I didn't initially put Amorim start down to, like, let's say a new manager bounce. I actually thought, you know what? He really kind of got inside the players' heads and we're like, lads, we're Man United. Like, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna kind of make some moves here. And the results at the time were speaking for themselves. You know what I mean? You got a good draw with 10 men at Arsenal in the cup. You beat City, albeit you may have been a bit lucky, but you stayed in the game long enough to beat City. You got a result at Liverpool. So just from that little sample size, those are 3 really big results in 3 really difficult games, and they got results in. But the regression since then has been crazy. So I have to hold my hands up and say, you know what? Amorim is definitely worthy of some criticism, absolutely, because they have regressed massively from when he first joined. Having said that, this team is awful. Like, I'm not talking about Amorim's team. I'm talking about the personnel. The personnel is awful. I'm looking at the 11 that played yesterday, and genuinely, there's only one player that I'd be comfortable making my bench that started yesterday, and that's Bruno Fernandes, bro. Genuinely, like, yeah. I was a bit perplexed as to why so many United fans were like, "Nah, let's get the money for Garnacho, like in this window." But yesterday, that miss was crazy, man. Like, that miss was just like, bro, it's like he wasn't even present in the game, man. And I know he had a few shots earlier on in the game, but really, when you miss that badly, when it's probably more difficult to miss that badly than hit the target, he was cooked after that.
Cooked.
Hoyland, I used to call him Acne Chris Woods. I used to call him Acne Chris Wood, bro. Like, bro, that's an L for me, innit? Because Chris Wood's got 18 league goals, bro. Hoyland can't lace Chris Wood's boots, brother. He cannot lace Chris Wood's boots, bro. And then that Dorgu committed like 10 fouls yesterday. I was not impressed by him. Mason Drew know what I said about Mazraoui a couple weeks ago, innit? They were like, nah, he's been one of United's best players. That guy's mid, bro. That guy has no future at Man United, bro. He's mid. Casemiro, 350 bags a week. Bro, mid. I saw a tweet that somebody, the director of football that brought Casemiro to United on that deal should never work in football again. And I agree, man, because 350 bags for a 30-year-old past his, oh my God, that is honestly one of the worst deals I've seen in a long time. So
and should you be partial prime in 2024-25 at 30? No. Cooked.
Man, I mean, like I said, Amorim has to take some responsibility for sure, but he's dealing with some horrific players right now, man. Like there's a lot of these United players that would struggle to get into top 6, top 8 teams, bro. I'll be real, man. So I see it both ways.
I do. You know what? I do get it, but I think something has to give, right? Because you know what he knew that he was going to deal with these players. He knew there was going to be no bread in January unless you make a massive clearance. First of all, if you're going to get rid of Rashford, who's on paper statistically still your best player, which is incredible, absolutely incredible, but whatever, you can't work with him. You decide to get rid of him, but there's nothing coming in. Even that alone, I don't know if that's an Amorim decision or that's a club decision. I don't want to give that too much on Amorim, but it's your team, innit? You're fighting for your life. You sanctioned it. You said, okay. Nothing came in.
I think I liken that very similarly to the way Arteta treated Aubameyang, innit? Like, he was like, I'm here now. You're not serving my purpose. I'm going to see you out of the door. But in my opinion, like, Aubameyang was not really offering anything. To see Rashford's cameo, which maybe we'll come into later on in the pod, to see Rashford's cameo off the bench on the week, bro, he easily would have been United's best player this weekend. He looked unbelievable, man. So for me, all of that, he's not training hard. I'm looking at Amorim with a side eye now, bro, because he looked sharp to me, and the window only closed a couple of weeks ago, bro. So, I don't know, man.
Can United relegate?
No,
they're on 29 points. Ipswich in 18th on 17 points. My maths is saying that's what's that, 12 points off the drop.
You know what's mad that we even having this conversation about United, but look, they got enough. They're lucky that the 3 teams below them or the 3 teams in the relegation zone are so bad that like they'll get away with it. Because where's their next win coming? Like, I was talking to Shaz earlier. He said he's put a 10 on him to get relegated, and he was like, any team, that has United coming up, I'm thinking, oh, cool, licking their lips, like got a chance to kind of get out of a rut. Like, we ain't won a home game since November. You know what I mean? And I was confident about playing United. And that's not just Spurs, that's every team in the league probably sees United. Like, they got Everton at the weekend. David Moyes is thinking, old club, that Goodison's going to be up for it. That's a tough game, 12:30 Saturday kickoff.
Yeah, they're losing that.
They're losing that. So it's like, so as much as I say they probably won't get relegated, if Ipswich could pick up a couple
Moyes collected more points than Amorim.
Yeah.
And he came later.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Like,
you know what's crazy? Like, obviously back in the day when relegated teams were competitive, we always used to say the 40-point mark was the mark you needed to avoid relegation. Like, United have got 13 points in their last 14 games, bro. Like, there's only 13 games left. They would like, if it was like a conventional relegation season, they would need to get 11 points from the next 13 just to be safe. Like, there's no guarantee that United will get 11 points over the next 13. Going off the last 14, bro, they got 13 points in 14 games. Who's to say that they would get to the 40-point mark? So in another season, United could actually be in a relegation battle. But as Strizza said, they're very fortunate that the teams below them are pitiful. I mean, Southampton are still on 9 points. They ain't even in double figures yet. So, I mean, come on, man. Yeah. So I think United will be all right. But, man, there's nothing fun in Greater Manchester right now, man. Genuinely.
I do have sympathy for Amorim, though, because they are so, like, the players are so bad. Like, they are. Like, I was watching Hoyland yesterday. Obviously, I always like to watch strikers. I'm watching Hoyland, and I'm just thinking, this brother is so
ass cheeks.
He is so bad. Like, he's so bad. Like, you know what? Yeah, like Xerxes, like, as much as he ain't got like maybe the pace,
he looked good
like that. He's got feet. Like, you can see, in a different league, he'd be all right when it wasn't as quick and not so demanded physically. But Hoyland is just. Do you know what is with United? It's like they just threw big money at players. Like, they thought, you know what, looks a bit like Haaland, had a little bit of a good spell at Atlanta, have 70 mil. Like, they just sign players, put them on mad contracts, mad wages. Like, the scouting, everything from top to bottom is a shambles. And that's why I feel sorry for Amorim, because he's come into this mess. It's not like he has created this mess. He's come into it and he's trying to solve the problems. He needs time. He said himself.
But bro, did someone put a gun to his head though?
Nah, but
I know United is on your. I know United is a big name. I get it, but come on, man.
United's a massive club. the biggest club in England, and he's been at Sporting. He'd won the league. Like, the opportunity was there. I think at the start of the season, there were talks that they wanted him. He said he wanted to stay at Sporting. And then they came back in for him and they said, look, you either come now or you're not going to get this chance again. And he kind of had to. So no one put a gun to his head, but it's a big opportunity. But it's like you come into a situation, that it's just, maybe he's being stubborn with the way he wants to play and his philosophies. And as you mentioned, when he's played against Liverpool and Arsenal, he's changed his tactics and he's come out on victorious or got a good draw against Liverpool and got a good draw, obviously, in the cup against Arsenal, won on penalties. But the wins that they've had, like Southampton, the win against Southampton at home, they were lucky.
Yeah, they were fighting for their lives, bro. Yeah, bro.
That's Lamana was cooking,
bro.
He was cooking. 80, 90 minutes. Like the City game, we know what happened there. It was lucky. Like, obviously, they done well to stay in the game, but do you know what I mean? Their wins haven't been convincing either. So it's like, is that papering over certain, not cracks, because we can see the cracks are evident, but are we saying that he's picked up wins and good results but they haven't played well? I haven't seen a game, maybe the Everton game 4-0 on one of his first games, they played well, but I've not seen United play well, and I feel like that's where Amorim's got to take responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, because he hasn't changed that part, the playing well part.
They're not playing well.
Yeah.
You don't see United. Like, I still don't know how United play. I don't know how Amorim wants them to play. Like, they don't have a pattern. They don't have a style. They don't play through the middle. They don't really use their wing backs. I see a lot of diags.
That's the crazy thing. You're playing wing backs, but that Dogu Donny you guys were at earlier, fam, I saw him overlapping Garnacho hella times, but Garnacho was like, not the black one. Bro, Garnacho could have passed it to him hella times, bro. He skipped him.
Is it like, are they working on that in training, or are the players just not? I don't know, man. Listen.
No, but I mean, but then it's I think it's a player thing and a coaching thing, because you can clearly see the wing backs are bombing forward. So that's a coaching thing. He wants the wings to be used, but for some reason that's not being done. So
there was halfway during the game, the cameras just they panned to him, and he was just looking down at the ground, bro, just solemnly, bro. There was like, this shit is beyond me,
Spurs.
Man. Fam, man. I feel for him, but you're right, man. He knew what he had to do coming in, and he's not done it, to be fair. Like, so he needs to take some ownership, man. 100%.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with United, man. But I hope they're relegated as well, man. I hope that Shas gets his money. But it's unlikely to happen. Let's move on, man. Let's move on to the top of the table now. The creme de la creme. Although they're not playing like it, but Arsenal, Liverpool.
What's your excuse?
We got excuses. Anyways, Arsenal and Liverpool, they're maintaining their 7-point gap for about several game weeks now, to be honest. Arsenal, who did you guys beat? You beat Leicester away 2-0, and Liverpool beat West Wolves at home 2-1 yesterday. Which meant that obviously Wednesday Liverpool are playing the game that they were meant to be playing the weekend of the Carabao Cup final, so we're playing it this Wednesday. Strizza, let me go to you, man, as you're the neutral in this. How do you see this playing out as a neutral? Like, there's still a 7 points gap. There's 14 games left. I think with the remaining games in hand, people say that Liverpool have the hardest fixtures left, but I don't think so. I think it's pretty equal, to be honest. The only thing is, we've got tough away games. That's probably the only difficult thing. But in terms of like teams, I think both teams got tough times to come through. But how do you see it?
Personally, like, I agree. I think fixtures are pretty similar. Obviously, you do have tougher away games, so you've got a 7-point cushion. It's Liverpool's to lose at the end of the day. Like, Arsenal have been unlucky with injuries. We know about the Saka one. Obviously, Havertz, whilst in Dubai, is a big loss as well. And I think the lack of firepower for Arsenal is what's gonna basically mean it's gonna be too much for them. I can't see where the goals will come from. I know Marino come off the bench and scored 2 against Leicester at the weekend, and maybe they found a makeshift 9, to do the job for the rest of the season. But I just think with 1 year, he looks a player, like a real good player. But he's 17. It's his first like kind of real season in the Prem. To be relying on him, Raheem Sterling, boy, oh boy! Like I watched the first half of that. I didn't watch the whole game, but I watched the first half, and he was diabolical. Like, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad though, because obviously, being Jamaican and them thing there, like Sterling is he's the guy, man, and he looks like he don't know how to play football. Like, so I just think with Arsenal's lack of firepower, I just think it will be too much for them, and obviously with the fact you've got the points lead. And the difference is really that you've got killers up top, man. You've got Mo, Gakpo's obviously been on fire. You've got Jota that's coming back into fitness, and it will just be too much. I think you're just a little bit too strong for them. I think when Liverpool had their little dip, Arsenal didn't capitalize. They had chances. I think it was around Christmas or New Year, where when you were dropping points, they were dropping points, and it was like that was the time where they could have maybe closed the gap a little bit. But with the gap being 7 points, with the injuries that Arsenal have now got in attacking areas, I think it's Liverpool's to lose, man. Like, if you don't win it from this position, you bottled it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But I said this in game week 10 from that position, because I think then it was 9 points or a few games after that. But yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with you, man. I think, let me talk from a Liverpool perspective. Obviously, in the last few games, it's not been looking good in terms of from a performance perspective. I think the only good game that we've had in like a 5-game run was probably the game against Spurs, the return leg at Anfield at home, which we look convincing. But the rest has been, especially in the league, it's been huffing and puffing, man. I know we've been unbeaten in like 20 odd games or so, but I feel like our players are in a weird. They're in the middle of, we've got a 7 points cushion. We're calm. There's no immediate pressure at the moment for them. Plus, with them thinking, oh, we've got this lead, but we don't know how to kind of like handle it, how to go about this, and it shows in these games where we all of a sudden we're not killing off teams anymore. We're taking a foot off the gas. We concede 1 goal and we get nervous. We get traumatized. We get whatever, and I don't like that. I don't like that type of mentality. I think, and that obviously needs to come from the gaffer, where he needs to motivate. He needs to tell these players that, yo, and obviously the senior players as well that have done this. Like, yo, we've got a league to win. We've got this 7 points cushion, but just act like Arsenal are behind, because within 2-3 games. This can all change, you know what I mean? Now, we've been lucky that Arsenal have not capitalized on our blip or on our points drop, because they've dropped points the same way as well. You know what I mean? And it's been pretty even for like 4 months or so between Arsenal and Liverpool. But it's just the initial weeks where Arsenal did have their blip. That is now proven to be the difference. You know what I mean? But I think Liverpool need to be careful of not like thinking, oh, we've got a Mo Salah, we will score. Jota needs to start putting the ball in the net instead of trying to dribble past the keeper or trying to create penalties. Like, put the ball in the net, bro. Like Salah, that's the difference between Salah and the rest of our players. And Gakpo, to be fair as well, he's a shoot on side guy as well. Like, Salah will just, if there's an opportunity to shoot, he will shoot. And it's going in 9 out of 10 times. Jota, who probably our most cleanest finisher, he doesn't necessarily do that, and it's really annoying me. You know what I mean? So I think these players need to get out of this complacency mode, because before you know it, I know Arsenal, they're hanging on the thread right now, but they're getting results. You have to give it to them. They're getting results. They're still there, but yeah. Just to conclude this, yeah, I do agree with you, man. I still believe that we will win it. If we bottle it from here, it'll probably be worse than the Newcastle one, even though Newcastle had more points ahead. But just the sheer fact that Arsenal, they're missing so many players, not so many players, but they're missing key players, you know what I mean? And yeah, it should be straightforward for us, man. But yeah, toast. Gooners.
Man, in another situation, I would have said, I've seen enough. And a wise man once said, I've seen enough. because I saw a stat the other day that said Liverpool have failed to win 6 of their last 12 after previously only failing to win 3 of their first 27 games. It's pretty damning, man. Like, you've gone into a bit of a shell. Your form is not what it was, but we have to keep it a buck, man. Like, if you don't win the league from here, given the state of Arsenal, like your closest competitors, it will be a travesty, man. I'm so sorry, man. Like, you've got Salah on 28 goals in all competitions. Is it 22 league goals, 23 league goals in Feb? He's looking to get that 30 piece already. You've got Van Dijk maybe near as close as he probably could be, like post ACL, pre ACL. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got Trent probably on the way out, having a really decent season. You've got injuries here and there. Don't get me wrong. Like, you've had a little bit of adversity here and there, but for the most part, you guys are quite close to full strength. Do you know what I mean? So for me, this little blip is more of probably a mental thing than it's maybe like a physical thing in terms of like missing players and suspensions. So for me, I don't see Salah like letting up. Salah at the moment is scoring, like, he's averaging like a goal or an assist a game. He's playing at a level that I didn't personally think he was even capable of reaching. Like, at this stage of his Liverpool career, like the man is just so inevitable. And I think just when it comes down to the fine margins of winning games, even if Liverpool aren't playing that well, you always have Salah. You always be able to rely on Salah. And then on the flip side with Arsenal, like, we're bare bones at the moment, man. Like, we have not got a 9 in the squad right now. Jesus done for the season. Havertz done for the season. That's the 2 recognized 9s that we have. Then you've got Martinelli now out for a month. Saka, who was supposed to be coming back next month, might not be back till April. We've got Odegaard, the senior player, captain, who in my opinion is hiding. Mixed opinions on that one, because Arsenal fans were saying that he had a very good last half hour in that game. I personally thought he was dreadful for a lot of that game. He's hiding, and I'm not happy with him, man. At this point, we're relying on 17-year-olds Ethan Nwaneri and false 9 now. And Arsenal fans are so deluded, are thinking that this is a masterstroke from Arteta in Marino. And credit to Marino, obviously, he came on. I didn't see how we were going to get a goal when he came on, and he scored 2 really good goals, man, to his credit. But it's not sustainable, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? I did not see where we were going to score against Leicester. So how am I supposed to be confident that we can now go and play Graham Potter West Ham like next game? And do you know what I mean? Like, so really, we're probably going to see a lot of draws between now and the end of the season. We're getting healthier defensively, so I feel as if like our defense probably will improve between now and the end of the season. But again, the attack is not sustainable, man. I don't see where the goals are going to come from. And it will probably be too late when we get Martinelli and Saka back, unfortunately, man, to really kind of push Liverpool. Having said that, I do think that this is actually probably one of the most pivotal weeks of the season. Villa have only lost once at home this season. That was obviously to Arsenal. Liverpool have them midweek, and then Liverpool go to an improving City on the weekend. Like, 2 draws for Liverpool and then 2 wins for Arsenal. Like, we've got West Ham next, and I think we've got Forrest after that. That's going to be a very difficult game because it's at the City ground. But let's just say Arsenal get 2 wins and then Liverpool get 2 draws. Do you know what I mean? Like, that basically, the gap's down to 3 points if those results go our way. If Liverpool lose any one of those games, the gap's even closer. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I see this really as a really pivotal week. More so for Liverpool, I say that because Liverpool have not been playing particularly well. If Liverpool can get 2 positive results out of the Villa and City game while not playing well, I mean, I think that the league is them, and they should really just kind of coast the rest of the way, man. So let's see what happens, man. But I give Arsenal less than like a 5% chance right now with coming back. More so because of the injuries and the personnel that we have right now to kind of get us over the line and win games.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's a pity, obviously, from an Arsenal perspective, that, you know, the striker issue was not addressed in January.
The club deserves everything it gets, bro. Genuinely.
I was about to say that, because obviously you can be like, okay, we can use that as an excuse, but you knew Gabriel Jesus was injured. You knew Havertz is not out and out 9. He wasn't even signed as a 9, so that at least that part should have been addressed in it. But yeah, man. With everything else that you said, I definitely agree, man. Yeah, let's see what happens, man. I think it's Liverpool's to lose at this moment of time as well. I'm just looking at my team's performance. I'm not even hate watching Arsenal anymore. I've gone past that stage now because it's like 13, 14 games left. It's us against the world, man. So yeah,
Facts.
let's see. These next 2 games is really key, man, and we need to win both. It can't either be win one, draw one. We need to win both, man, because if we don't, then that mental fragility that's creeping into these players is gonna come back, and then I fear the worst, man. I definitely fear the worst.
Facts.
I wanted to discuss 2 more teams, which is Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Nottingham Forest, they sit third, fairly comfortably, to be honest, on 47 points. 3 points of fourth, which is Man City, and 4 points of fifth, which is Bournemouth. And I think the Premier League is going to get 5 teams headed to the Champions League for next season because of the coefficiency points. If Spurs or United win the Europa League, then obviously top 4 goes, and then Spurs and United will get that 5th spot. But what do you guys think? Because I think there's a serious possibility that Bournemouth and Forest, providing United and Spurs don't win the Europa League, can hit the big time, man, in the Champions League. And I would definitely like to see that.
Gosh, Driz.
Now I was going to say, like, it's definitely possible. Like, they've obviously performed really well. Forest have, obviously Bournemouth as well, like, unbelievable. For Forest to be in the top 4 when I thought they had a chance to maybe like be struggling in the relegation battle at the start of the season. I don't rate Nuno as a manager at all. They've obviously do have some good players, but to think that they're third, man, like there's no reason why they couldn't. Obviously, it's just about whether they can be consistent. I'm not sure about their running. I think they've got like Arsenal and City coming up in the next couple of games. I think they've got Newcastle, Arsenal, then City. So like all teams like in the top 5, top 6. So if they were to like maybe pick up a couple of wins in those, or maybe like 4 or 5 points, and I think their end of season run is quite healthy, then there's no reason why they can't. Because I think, as Toe said earlier, like going to the City ground is not easy, and the closer it gets towards the end of the season, the more fans will start to believe and start to think, we've actually got a real chance, and that will become a bit of a fortress. So, like, obviously, like, I wouldn't want to see it because I want my team to win the Europa League. But like, if we weren't to, then it'd be nice, man, to see another club. Like, obviously, Forest have got a lot of history, and they deserve it, man, because Chris Wood's been in unbelievable form, and they've got some really good players. Like, I really like Gibbs-White. I like that Murillo, Milenkovic has come in and done well. I like Ola Aina. Do you know what I mean? So they've got like some good players, and they're quite likable team as well. So, and as for Bournemouth, like, just Iraola, man, the job he's done, obviously coming in last season, struggled to begin with, but they're just like relentless. You know what they've got as well, and this is the difference. And maybe it's because they play 1 game a week, but they're up there with Spurs in terms of their presses per game, the high intensity runs, and things like that. And they've had a lot of injuries, but it's not spoken about. They just get on with it. They play week in, week out. Yeah, they play week in, week out, and they still pick up results. They still pick up wins. They've beaten all the top teams, or majority other than Liverpool, all the top teams at home. And they're just going about their business. And some of the performances, obviously, like from Kluivert, they've obviously, Evan Nilsson got injured. They lost now as well. Atara's gone up front as like a makeshift, or like just, he's more of a winger, innit? But he's gone up front as just needs must, and he's been scoring goals. Semenyo obviously is a tricky winger that can chip in. They're just a good team, man. And some of the
but the thing is, Iraola plays like good football, good passing, free-flowing football, but when needs be, he keeps it compact. And that's what I need Amorim and Ange to do, because it is possible to play nice and be compact, bro, and keep it tight.
Yeah.
And then when you need to attack, you attack. You pick your moments.
100%.
That's it.
I watched the Newcastle game, and it was a few weeks ago when Kluivert scored his hat-trick. And tactically, unbelievable from Bournemouth. It was perfect. They, like you say, they go where they need to go, but when they need to sit in, they've got 2 workhorses with Christie and Tyler Adams in the midfield that just get about. And I like Bournemouth. Like, I think Bournemouth are, in terms of a team to watch, they're such a good team to watch. They've got such like a good work ethic, and it feels like they ain't got many players that think they're too big time. they're all kind of humble. They work hard. Obviously, they do what the manager says, and so like it's good for the Premier League, man. That we've got like a club like Bournemouth, 12,000 capacity seat stadium. Do you know what I mean? And
so what they're going to use? What stadium are they going to use if they make the Champions League?
I was going to say, I was thinking about this the other day, you know, because I don't know if their stadium would pass.
That stadium is not UEFA certified.
That's
so
crazy.
They have to probably go St. Mary's.
Can you imagine? Hey, my God.
That's mad, isn't it? But to think like a club that were a little bit of a yo-yo club, like they'd be in the Prem, be in the Championship, be in the Prem, and now they could be playing Champions League football potentially next season. Like it's incredible, and it's good for like football, not just like in the Premier League, but like teams in the Championship as well. Like you got Villa, who were in the Championship for a number of years, obviously big club, big history, and they were on the brink of relegation, and now they're playing Champions League football. It just makes the league more competitive, and it's good for football, isn't it? So
Forrest as well, man. Champions League heritage.
Yeah. I hope they do.
Don't forget. Yeah, 100%, man. Do we believe in Chelsea to make a late rally? Because the Chelsea fans are having a meltdown about their manager and their team and everything else, man. They've got a few injuries as well, right? Nico Jackson. Who else? Even though he doesn't really move the needle like that, but for their playing style, they
can't use injuries as an excuse.
Yeah, I don't think they can, man. Like they've got obviously Palmer still available. They've got more or less all of their wingers available. They've got their 2 centre midfielders available. Like I think it'd be very unfair to kind of use injuries for Chelsea, man. I don't know, man. It just feels very lifeless at Stamford Bridge right now. Like there was a lot of excitement earlier on in the year. Like you had Madueke scored a nice hat trick. Palmer was playing well, scored like 4 goals in a half against Brighton, and more recently, just no life in that team, bro. Like there's no inspiration. There's no nothing, man. That they fell off hard, and it's funny because clips are coming up from a couple of months ago where a lot of the players and even Maresca multiple times were like saying we're not looking at the league, we're not focusing, and it was just like. It was almost as if they themselves knew that this is a false position, that we're not actually as good as we're playing right now. And you know what I mean? And maybe it was just elements of luck, man. But yeah, very strange, man. Like I don't know what I'm gonna get week to week right now from Chelsea, man. It's not great. I know they beat West Ham the other day at home, but even that game, it was close until the end. Do you know what I mean? Like they easily could have drawn that game, and in the Brighton game, they got whooped, man. And this is a Brighton team that's still trying to figure out what they are. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, they took a really bad defeat against Nottingham Forest only a couple of weeks ago. So to go to the Amex and get slammed 3-0, crazy result, man. So yeah, man, Chelsea
losing the FA Cup as well.
Soul searching mode, man. Yeah, facts. True.
I don't know if mentally
taking their managers and players as well.
Yeah, I don't know if with Chelsea, if mentally, like, so they've obviously got the Conference League, and we know that's pretty much they're gonna win that, right? So like, where the results have kind of tailed off in the league, not that they were ever going to be champions, but there were conversations, right? And they were playing it down in the media, which I understand. The results got worse in the league. The confidence got knocked. And then being out the FA Cup, it's like now they've just kind of, they're just on the beach almost, but they're not, because there's still a lot to play for. They've still got the Champions League spaces to play for, obviously, for the following season. And that squad of players want to be playing in the Champions League. That's the whole point. Like Maresca came out on the Friday and said, I was told obviously that I don't have to get Champions League now. I have 2 years, blah, blah. I don't believe that for a second. I think he's just saying that the money that they've spent, and for, like you say, for your Bournemouth and your Forrest to be up in those positions, Chelsea should be getting top 4 or in the top 5 this season, right? So I think that now they have to fully focus. It has to just be about the Prem. They got to get themselves out. I don't want them to, by the way, but they have to, because if they're not playing the Champions League next season, like it'll be like really bad. They can't.
Yeah, fully agree, man. They have to, man. And obviously, like the thing with Premier League is like the top teams, they can sacrifice not being in the Champions League for a few seasons, because obviously the Premier League TV money is huge anyways. Probably on similar level to like the Champions League money, but like you said, but with the amount of money that they spent, wages, the contracts that these players are on, you have to make it, man, by hook or crook. Atosa just dropped off.
Where's he gone?
But yeah, but I'm not sure, man. But by hook and crook, they have to make it to the Champions League. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know, but we can finish this without him, man. Is there anything else? City played a decent game against Newcastle as well, beating 4-0, I think.
Yeah, 4-0. Marmoush
4-0, yeah. Marmoush hat trick, 30-minute hat trick. Welcome back, Toast. And then McAtee with a goal as well. Yeah, I didn't expect that, but City looked good. They looked back to their best. And they had a DM, Nico Gonzalez, and everything changed.
I just don't know about City though. Like, it's a great result, and I thought they would struggle against Newcastle, especially in transition. Isak's obviously on fire. Gordon's a threat, but I just think that they just so 1 minute. Like, I thought maybe they turned the corner when they played against Chelsea, albeit Chelsea haven't been in great form, and then they went to PSG. They were 2-0 up, and they lost 4-2, and it was like, and they've gone and they beat and. Obviously, being 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go in the first leg against Real Madrid the other day and losing 3-2, but then they've gone and beat Newcastle 4. It's just like they're so inconsistent. And in fairness,
Arsenal, like
that game as well. I forgot about that game. That game as well. Like, I didn't actually watch that game. I was obviously away, but it's just like you don't know what you're going to get from City, and it's like, could City go to the Bernabeu and win the game? Of course they could, but could they get slapped? They could as well. And I don't know, like. I definitely think the signing of Gonzalez obviously helps them in terms of like defensive mid. They needed that. They needed a body in there. But I don't know, man. City are such a weird team.
Yeah, I don't see City getting a result at Bernabeu, man. That's going to be a Pep masterclass of their ages if they do, man. I just don't think they're playing well enough at any phase of the game, really, on a consistent enough basis for me to be like they're gonna like get a result. I mean, at worst, maybe if they can sneak through on pens, but I just don't see how they win that time, man. Yeah, City a strange one, man. I couldn't call that Newcastle game at all. I actually kind of maybe fancy Newcastle to steal something from that game, and then Marmoush just obviously bangs in a first half hat trick, and then his ball game after that, man. So yeah, again,
you know what? Even after the 3-0, I was like, Newcastle can still come back. That's how crazy, and that's actually crazy to think that with City. But I looked at because I watched Feyenoord versus when they played against Feyenoord. I watched that game.
That comeback,
came back from 3-0 down as well. So I thought Newcastle they'll buckle up their ideas half time and they'll come back. But obviously, second half was Newcastle did try second half, but it was pretty routine towards the end, man. But yeah, it's annoying me that they have like their DM now against us.
That's what I like to see, man.
Annoying me. But yeah, let's see, man. Let's see what happens in the Bernabeu game, because I think that's how I will judge them. That's how I will gauge at what level City is at. And obviously Liverpool, we need to do the business on Wednesday and see where we at as well. But yeah, man, let's head over to the bar, man. If there's nothing else. Any shots?
Yeah, I got a quick shot, man. I got a quick shot for my brother Morgan Gibbs-White, man. I didn't get to touch on it in the Not in a Forest segment, but another assist, obviously, this weekend for Chris Wood. Him and Chris Wood are having a hell of a season. I think that brings him up to like 5 assists now, 5 goals. Honestly, with that Morgan Gibbs-White thing, it's like buying Bitcoin in 2012, man. Like, bro, because I've been telling people about Morgan Gibbs-White from jump, innit? And people were disrespecting the thing. Forest are 3rd in the league. I don't think people are deep in. Nottingham Forest are 3rd in the league, bro. Donnies were telling me that Curtis Jones could come into the Forest team and do the that thing. You can't do the that thing. Come on, bro. Bro, there's levels to this, man. There's levels to this, innit, man? It's time you, man, start giving MGW his flowers, man. Forest are going for Champions League, bro. Talk. Speak on it, my brother.
I don't want it's just showing it.
All right, say nothing. Say niz.
All I wanted to say was I don't think none of us dislike or don't rate Morgan Gibbs-White. You never heard that from my mouth. That's all I want to say.
You just think Curtis Jones is better? Still?
That's all I want to say.
Then. All right.
Then. Any shots? No, Ange. No Maddie.
Nah. Do you know, I'll give a shot. Like, firstly, you know what Tosha said about Gibbs-White? I actually think Gibbs-White is better than Curtis Jones, for the record. But, like, it's mad because he said 5 goals and 5 assists. And I understand Forrest are in the position that they're in. But Maddison's got 9 goals and 4 assists, but Maddison's not. Anyway, my shot is for... my shot is for Vicario. Obviously, first game back, obviously, after breaking his ankle against City. Clean sheet, pulled off some great saves, leader in the back line. It's just good to have some bodies back in it, and I feel like he's a big part, not only on the pitch but in the dressing room, obviously. So I hear. So yeah, good to have him back, and hopefully we can kick on for the second or the last part of the season, man.
Mad. I was surprised to see him in goal. You know, I even clocked he was in goal, and I was like, oh, they got Vicario back. Yes, first. You might have your joy back, man.
Mate, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I don't get ahead of myself, but like Europa League or bust. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like, listen, what I'm saying is, if we finish 12th, I'm in the Europa League, and also finish second, we've had a better season. I'm just saying, Thomas. I'm just saying.
Europa League is big money, bro. It's Champions League ticket. It's big money, man. So go for it. Definitely at this stage.
Let's see, man.
Yeah, my shot goes to Jarrell Quansah, man, aka VVQ. Came on for Ibrahim. I fix your face, man. Fix your face.
Man. Let me get a lemon, man. Let me get a lemon. What kind of shot is this?
Fix your face. Fix your face. Nah. The only reason why I want to give him a shot, because obviously this season, he's been shocking, to be honest. But he's made a game-winning tackle. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
Who's that left? That white don for who? What's his name?
For Wolves.
He crossed it in.
Yeah, for Wolves. What's his name?
I don't know who crossed it. Was it Doherty or
Tommy
Doyle?
Doyle?
Yeah.
That's his name. Tommy Doyle. Good player, man. Good player. But I don't know if you guys saw the build-up of that particular phase. Our whole back line was in line, playing everyone offside. Who was a meter behind our back line? Robertson, playing Doyle on side. Robertson, bro, that's another story.
Yeah, he's done.
But Jarrell Quansah, man, he came from out of nowhere, man, because Doyle, he fizzed it in. I don't know, the striker that they brought on nearly was a tap-in for him, man.
It's a game-saving tackle, man.
And it was a game-saving tackle because we were under it. I don't know if you guys saw, but Liverpool didn't record a single shot on goal for the first time since 03-04. That is crazy.
In the second half?
In the second half, yeah.
At
Anfield, which is completely unheard of. But my excuse is normally we face the Cop End in the second half. We didn't this time, so that's why. But yeah, that's my shot. Jarrell Quansah, VVQ. Buckle up your ideas, man. Get back to your best. And yeah, this was it, man. Thank you guys for listening. Of course, like, share, subscribe, do all that damn thing. We'll be back hopefully next week with a brand new episode. Strizza toast. Thank you very much.
In a bit,
Andrew,
man.
aka Rapping Drew. And we out. Peace.